Hello, everybody, and welcome here to Watkins Glen International Speedway. Sorry about that extended starting swing screen. I had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are here for the AWC Pro Series once again here at the Watkins Glen International Speedway, the Cup version, not the boot version, the plain old NASCAR version, here for Week 7 for the AWC Pro Series. Hello, my name is Christian Delgado, your lead producer and commentator for tonight's race and for the rest of the season here for the AWC Pro Series. But we have just a tad bit under 4 minutes left in practice, so let's go ahead and look at some of your fastest drivers on the track right now. Currently your pole sitter, Jacob Perino. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Take a look at him, and it's number 33. PH Designs, Chevy Camaro. Back there in P2, Micah Hyde. This number 9 machine. We can get maybe a decent look at him. Being back there in Pay Road. Jake Scarborough, league owner, boss man himself, back there in P3. And Joel Farlow, number 24, your points leader, I believe, back there in P4. But Watkins Glen here, one of the more historic racetracks here in the NASCAR kind of experience or whereabouts here. Obviously, Watkins Glen, one of the oldest consecutive road courses that the IRL Cup Series, Xfinity Series, Truck Series have gone to throughout, and it's a common stay when it comes to these leagues here on the sim. One of the most popular road courses that you'll see on the schedule here on the simulator. So until with that, it makes it really popular. And with how much it's ran here, it really does put on some good racing. You'll see some road course ringers go out there and maybe steal the show, but you'll also see some really hard, good racing. 15 now, 16 people out on track. It's a lot for a road course, especially here for the AWC Pros. You see the 24 make a big shunt here. Gonna go upside down in for a bit. We'll go back on here with Bryson Bird, the number 53 machine, and that Ford Dark Horse Mustang. Bryson Bird, also someone who he's either been, a top 5 guy or he's been a bottom 5 guy. Usually getting caught up in the wrecks out of his doing, but Bryson has always shown, I would say top 5 speed everywhere we go. Him going down the front stretch. Let's actually go on board with this number 53, and he's going to take you on board for a lap here at Watkins Glen. You're going to see a hard braking zone down to this right-hander, one of the only up here on the curbs. You're going to use up these curbs a lot here, especially in the Xfinity car down here. Get this car slowed down for the S's. Up and out of the S's, you're going to try to use up as much track as you can here. Get up here to the left side as you get ready to set up for this bus stop. Going to break around probably the 500 mark. And use up these curves as much as you can. Get a good exit off. Use that right curve if you want. Down here into the carousel. You just want to carry as much speed as you can without scrubbing off speed. Get a good exit. You're going to use up as much track as you want up here. Down here. Out of the carousel. See him go all the way almost to that grass, and then down here to the only left-hand turn on the track. Down here this left penultimate corner. Use up as much track as you can here. Down here into the final corner, turn 11. Get a good exit out. Down here across the line. That's something you're going to see a lot here in this race, potentially. See him spinning it out. That hard, heavy braking zone down into turn 1, it's really easy to what they call tire hop. It's basically when you get on the brakes a little bit too aggressively, and it causes you to, for those rear tires to start to physically jump up in the air and hop around, and obviously you want to keep the tires on the ground as much as you can, and you'll most of the time end up spinning it out, trying to brake too aggressively, and that's all that is. Tire hop is when you're just trying to get onto the brakes a little bit too quick, going to be a little bit too aggressive into those hard braking zones, and the rear tires just do not want to engage with the track. you'll most likely have a little bit of an issue. But you're looking at Aiden Schramm. Hopefully I'm saying that right with that fast cash rating. I think that's the fast cash racing machine, that 86 machine. See him running some laps, rounding out your practice. Jacob Clarino, though, in that 33, gonna be your fastest in that TH Designs machine. TH Designs, someone we're very familiar with here in the High Velocity TV family. Obviously sponsors the Sportsman Legacy Truck Series for the first portion of that series. So, and obviously TJ or TH Designs runs in the Prestige Cup Series that we broadcast here on Thursday nights. We're getting ready to do your qualifying session. 10 minutes, 2 laps for these drivers. So plenty of time for these guys to get these 2 laps in, as we're going to look at Micah Walls in this number 9 Best Buy machine. Finally going to get a look at this car. Nice looking car for Micah. I really like this Best Buy car. Obviously, when you look at Best Buy, you think back to, you know, Roush Fenway back with the 17 car. But you also have to go back and think of who was it? Richard Petty Motorsports, right? With the 43. AJ Allmendinger ran a Best Buy machine for a little bit. Nice looking car for this 9. Be a little loose. Stepping out the back end there through the carousel. Gonna use up all of this track. You can tell he's trying to go hard here to get as much as he can out of this car. Down here to start his first lap, and we'll pull up our qualifying graph here. I'll show you guys all the inputs. When he's on the brakes, his RPM right there. So you see the brake light glowing red, that means he's on there. As soon as you see that green light go, that means he's on the gas in some type of proportion. See the RPMs pick up and drop as he goes through the S's there. Really aggressive out of that first chicane. Well, only chicane, my apologies. Using up all the track you can once again out of the bus stop. Hear that powerful machine blast by us here. And that lap for Walls, oh, a 113.6, a 113.9 back there for Bryson Bird. Wyatt Youngblood making his first appearance here into the Prestige Cup Series. Another TH Designs machine. Wyatt also runs in the Prestige Cup Series that we broadcast on Thursday night. So welcome, Wyatt. We all know that Wyatt's internet tends to be a little spotty, so if you'll actually get to even run a lap here. This will be Wyatt's second lap. Coming down here into the bus stop. See Wyatt taking the line that a lot of people do here through the chicane, just trying to get as low as he can, not going to wash wide through that not chicane, through that carousel. Just tries to wrap that curbing there. But down here through the penultimate corner, Back down here to this last right-hander. Back here across the line. 1:14.2. That's P6. Big shunt for that machine. Ryan Rombaum out on track in the number 13. Go ahead and look at your guys' lap times here. With 5 minutes left in the session. Will be Ryan's second lap that he's starting right here in this number 13 machine. I think he's got zone on the back of the car. Notable also people up here, Jacob Clarino. We saw him fastest in practice, going to set a P2 lap time with 1:13.68. And Bryson Bird back there to P3 at 1:13.9. And Jake Scarborough, 1:14 flat. It's a good lap for that number 77 machine. Will Farlow missing consistent back there in P5 with a 1:14.2. And Wyatt, we saw his lap back there in P6 with that 1:14.2 as well. Only 3/1000ths off. Joel coming to the line here. What can this 13 do? He's going to spin it out. That's what he's going to do. Unfortunate luck for that 13 machine. We do have one more guy on track. That is the 48 of Aaron Evans. See him with a little loose side of that final corner. We're just going to keep putting it on him. Looks like he's trying to get some extra practice laps in. Something I highly recommend here, especially if you're not as keen on the road courses. Regardless of where I'm running usually, you always will see me trying to take these qualifying laps as many as you can to just get some practice in, right? Laps count, right? And this 48's taking advantage of it. 3.5 minutes left in qualifying. He's going to take as many laps as he can to get acquainted with the track, get acquainted with the car. Yeah, I'm really using up that the grass and those curbings there through the bus stop. Oh, he's gonna take a little bit of a spin there, and there he goes. He's overdrove it a little bit into the carousel. I don't think he's gonna give up on that car yet. Gonna continue to muscle this 48 machine around. Nice to see some faces back here in the AWC Pro Series. Tristan Pena back, one of your all-star drivers. Happy to see him back. Adam Towle back in here. Nice to see him back into the running some races. Obviously some new faces. We have, young blood here. I'm pretty sure he's making his first start here in the Pro Series. I could be wrong. With that all said and done, that will end your qualifying for tonight's race at the Glen. We're going to wait a few seconds, let these drivers get these setups in their cars and get acquainted with the race. Obviously, something cool about iRacing is you can have a little bit of a different setup to get a little bit more lap time in that qualifying session. But you can also go back and maybe change the steering ratio a little bit, maybe change the brake bias for this race, where you're probably not going to be trying to do quality laps for the whole race, especially here in these Xfinity cars. You cannot really afford to do that. Almost everybody else out here on the track. Let's go ahead and get your starting lineup here, presented by High Velocity TV. See Michael Walls there, your pole sitter, with Jacob Clarino. Now number 33, you're going to be outside front row. Bryson Burden, number 77, with Jake Scarborough. Going to run that row 2. Row 3 will consist of Joel Farlow with Wyatt Youngblood back there in P6. Abe Kazula with Aaron Evans going to round out row 8. And back there in P9, in row 4, my apologies, and P9 is going to be Sean Pena with Landon A. Brown going to round out that top 10. Fidel Fabian with Aiden Scram back there in row 6. And then 13th going to be Max Troyan. Max Troyan. I'm pretty sure that's how you say that, with Adam Tao back there in P14. And rounding out the rest of your field, David Huckleberry with Ryan Rombaum at number 13 going to round out your field tonight at Watkins Glen. Looks like still waiting on one driver to grid. Is that 52 of Huckleberry still needs to get in his machine. We wait on maybe the driver's meeting, maybe something else, as we do have that 52 in his machine, as you hear race car rev up right there. As we get ready to look at your race weather for tonight's race, air temperature is 69 degrees with a 13-mile-an-hour wind up going north, so it's actually going to blow these cars faster down this front stretch, I believe. But still, 15 miles an hour, especially at a road course, that's definitely going to affect the way these cars are going to handle. You know, with a road course, obviously you're going all kinds of different directions, and depending on where you are on the track, that wind is going to affect the way it drives. So it's going to be very interesting. Partly cloudy out for tonight's race here at Watkins Glen, so still a pretty decent race and pretty decent weather conditions for these drivers. "41 laps here at the Glen," so it's going to be a little bit of a doozy. 41 laps, a decent amount for these races. I'm not sure what the fuel mileage is going to look like, so we'll kind of have to go by ear. I believe there's not going to be any full course cautions unless maybe we get a big one throughout the race here. But usually, generally, with these road courses, especially with these league sessions, you will not get full course cautions, which is going to affect the way these drivers, I feel like, have to set up this race. You know, if you make a mistake, you're not going to get a caution to bring you back forward to get you back into a spot to gain position. So you really, I feel like I would rather worry about keeping the car on the track and keeping it clean versus, you know, getting lap time out of it, potentially wrecking yourself out or maybe wrecking someone else. You know, in my opinion, you want to keep this car as clean as you can to get to the end. Here you see the lights on the pace car, which means we'll be going green and to start this race once we get into here. Once again, 41 laps here at Watkins Glen for the AWC Pro Series. You see the 9 and the 33 Chevy front row can lead us to green. You see a Ford and a Toyota back there in row 2. You're going to see that pace car hook a hard right turn on the pit road. And we're going to be green here for 41 laps here at the Glen. Very clean and green at the start of this race as everybody starts to get single file for, I would say, 4th or 5th on back, as we do have a little bit of a battling back there for the P6 position. That's for P8, in my opinion. And Tristan Pena's going to take a spin off the nose of the 86. Aiden Schramm side by side with the 50, and that's just not going to work sometimes. So the 50 is going to take a spin here on lap 1. Back up towards the front. That 9's trying to get away from the 33 machine. Clarino, fastest in practice, trying to hunt down this number 9 Best Buy machine. Bird back there lurking in P3 with Scarborough back there in P4. Just trying to bide his time right now. Gabe Gazzola back there getting some pressure from the 24. Davis had some good runs. He's shown some speed, but has not been consistent enough to, you know, keep the car underneath him in one piece. As I see the 24 starting to lurk. On the peak outside, that's not going to work here. Going in and out of the S's. '24 tried to make a peak, but the 18 super aggressive down into this braking zone for this bus stop chicane. And 24 is going to have to try to pass him somewhere else. That also, and then it's allowed Youngblood to try to leer his way back in that number 62 machine. Ooh, see him using up that curb a lot. Upsets the car a little bit, but back to Joel. Trying to make a move on the inside. He's going to try to get around this 18 with the bumper. Going to shove him back side by side going into this last corner. 18's going to get a little bit of a bumper back from the 24. He's going to save it, and he's going to lose several spots. Trying to be aggressive at the start here. You see the 48 of Aaron Evans going to get around, and I'm going to watch this 18. It's 48 with a little bit of a mistake. 18's going to try to cross him over. Because Olo's going to get right back around that 48 machine. Not going to give it up too easily, though. Looking inside here. That 18's going to stay ahead for now, keeping that P7 spot secured. 24 under fire from the 62. We got a big battle up here. The 33 with an issue. Clarino off here. I want to go back and take a look and see what happened to this 33 machine real quick while we have the opportunity to. So this happened way before. 33 must have had a big off here. But gets passed by the 18 and the 62 and the 24. So both, started on the front row all the way back here, the P7. A little bit of a battle trying to brew here is the 77 is Scarborough trying to reel down this 53 machine. Jake being a lot more passive down through this carousel. They try to use up as much track as they can here to keep the speed up. And try to follow this 53 all the way down here into this left-hander. And that 9 has not been able to get away as much as I thought he would. Only about a little over a second gap. To the cars out in front. As we see that battle continues to fight on, but we do have several other battles here. 18 still getting hounded down by that 48. Maybe the 48. And this is something you have to look at, right? This 48 didn't show the best pace in practice, not the best pace in qualifying, but has been able to follow this 18 around the track and has been able to stay with them for the most part. Now, sometimes it just takes you kind of sitting behind someone and learning the track a little bit more for you to, find some pace in the car. Back here, you have Fidel Fabian getting some pressure from the 86. '86 Aiden Schramm gonna take a move down here onto this left-hander. Gonna make the pass work. Remember, Aiden got caught up in that contact between him and the 50 earlier this race, and accidentally spun out. Not Sean Pena. Tristan Pena, one of your all-star drivers. So But Hayden slowly working his way through the field with that fast cash machine. Looking at back here for some better battles. Now the closest one is between this, now the 86 and the 51. I feel like the 86 are going to continue to pull away here. But Jake Scarborough finally getting around the 53 machine. To the rest of the field. See a battle still ensuing here for the P2 spot. Bryson just trying to do everything he can to keep up with the 77 machine, and honestly some sneaky fast speed out of Jake. You know, I haven't talked to him a lot about Watkins Glen, but I didn't expect Jake to be a road course ringer, if you want to call it. So, you know, the first out of the regular, I would say regular season drivers here, Jake is putting on a show here for your fans at home, trying to drive up to your race leader. Yeah, Jake just has not been able to get away from the from this 53 machine, and I like to see that we have a couple of little mini battles going on right now. It's like Gazzola is still trying to pull away from the 48. 48 Aaron Evans still steering, you know, in that half-second range. Good run for this 48 up here into the top 10. You see him P7 right now. That was a huge bus stop for that 48. Catching back up. Got that underneath 4/10. '48's starting to find some pace. Oh, the 48 a little upset out of the corner there. He's going to lose some time from that. We'll go back to the battle for P2. Jake actually starting to get reeled back in a little bit. Hey, Jake running matching lap times with your leader, and actually Bryson Bird running a little bit quicker than the rest of the field here. A 14.6 to a 14.7. For the two leaders. You have Joel back there sneakily just kind of sitting back there running 14.9s. Oh, Youngblood probably blinking out. I said he ran at 34 at second lap time, so but Wyatt has moved his way up into the top 5, up one spot. Wyatt have a little bit of a mistake there. 53 trying to make a move here. No. Not going to be there. We'll take laps complete here, and we'll talk a little bit about some of our partners here at HVTV. Look at it. As we talk about Delta Designs while we get some time. Delta Designs, one of the key partners here at High Velocity TV. If you guys are looking for any graphical needs or even some paint scheme designs, you know, look no forward. Look no further than Delta Designs here, and Andres Fares, a very talented painter and graphic designer. You know, has made me several paints myself, but also done a lot of work with the network to get some of these precious graphics made to make the broadcast just look a little bit better for you guys. So if you guys are looking for any graphic work or any paint scheme or graphical design work, any graphics made for you for an event, maybe, you know, anything, right? Look no further than Delta Designs. We do have his X account linked down below if you want to shoot him a message over down there to get linked to him. Really competitive pricing for the amount of talent he puts into his works. Looking back here for the 94 Max Troin back here in P15. Kind of ride around for a little bit in this 34 machine. So, oh, you're gonna see him spin it out here through the bus stop. Commentator's curse. The one time I look at this 94, he's looping it around here in the bus stop. You're going to look back at your race leader, though. Micah Walls starting to slowly put a gap on the rest of the field. It's funny because they're running almost identical lap times, but Micah just being able to put like a 10th or so every other lap here, and that's just what's continuing to let him inch by inch pull away here. You know, Jake ran a 9, he ran an 8. You know, and Bryson is falling back to 15 flats. Joel Farlow back to 15 twos, and that's something you have to think about with this Xfinity car as well. It's not like the Cup car, it's not like the truck where you're not going to see a lot of fall off. With these Xfinity times, the tires will wear, and you're going to have to conserve them. You can't just go full 1,000% like you can on something like this Gen 7 car, where you can just push as hard as you can and the tires aren't really going to fall off that much or really affect the way it drives. If you push hard in this Xfinity car, it will start to drive bad, and you have to learn, you know, where to kind of find that middle ground of trying to run a consistent pace and then also, you know, trying to get away. I think Micah's doing a really good job here. Lap 12. This is around the time where you'd start to see what the tires have done and what's going on here. Micah continuing still to put down the fastest lap times of the race, but not far behind, not much faster than this P2 driver of Jake Scarborough, you know. Jake ran just a tick under a 10th slower that lap, and I think partially that is due to the fact that he does have Bryson Bird, who's actually was a tiny bit faster than Jake that lap. Breathing down his neck this whole race, forced, you know, Jake to hit his marks and maybe push his car a little bit quicker than he might want to, but you know, Bryson's doing a good job keeping the pressure on. Joel matching lap times with the leader that lap. That last lap, everybody ran a 3. Now, coming back to the line there, you see a 15.2, a 15.1, a 15.5, and a 15.5. So matching lap times with Bird at the very least. And you'll see why Youngblood back there in the P5 position. But getting ran down by the 18 car. Gazzola has found some pace in this machine as well. '18 has looked fast, and he's brought Aaron Evans along with him. So maybe Youngblood maybe used up his tires a little bit to try to get away, and starting to see that lap time start to dissipate out of the 62 machine as the 18 and now the 48 start to breathe down his neck. See him coming down pit road as well as the 24 machine. So I guess I would say about 15 laps is around the pit window for these drivers. So thank you to the 24 and that 62 of Youngblood for kind of leading us off there. Also your race leader, Michael Walls, down pit road. So I'll hand over your race lead over to the 77, the Jake Scarborough. Bryson Bird back there in the P2 spot now. Bryson has still not been able, has not let off the pedal and continuing to put pressure on this number 53 machine. We'll go through the field after we get through this little stint of green flag pit stops. And when does the 77 come in? When does this 53 come in? I feel like if on the 53, you either undercut the 77 or you just come in with the 77. But do they come in this lap? 77 and the 53. 86 decides to stay out. Solid amount of time. But you do see the 34. Adam Tao is taking his car to the pit road. I apologize for that little blip. We see the leaders now coming down pit road. Jake Scarborough down pit road. We also see the 94 and the 50 of Pena and Troyan down pit road. So that'll hand the race lead back over to Bryson Bird in the 53 machine. Bryson comes up on a lap car. That's the 52 of Huckleberry. They're trying to be cordial to try to let Bryson through in cordial manners. You'll see him pull off to the left there through the carousel. So right now, your top three, Bryson Bird, Gazzola, and Aaron Evans, who is still not yet to pit. Aaron Evans has lost a lot of time off the back of the 18 machine. Maybe had a mistake. Must have had a huge mistake. I don't see that he wrecked. Yeah, we spun that thing out, but handling's starting to go away here. Now I think he's going to take this car down pit road. Get a 53 down pit road and Bryson Bird down pit road. Alcandra race over to the 18 of Cazzola. So you look at some of these other drivers who came down, you know, quite a while ago. Michael Walls came down on 3 laps ago. So remember, you see some of these guys who came down, like Joel Farlow, 3 laps ago. So they really undercut some of these other drivers versus the 18 machine, who's going to come out here and at least run 18 laps on this first stint. Obviously, tire wear is going to be huge, and I feel like that's a big reason why you're going to see some guys underpit or undercut some of these other drivers. But you got to think that, you know, if you have the pace here like this 18 did, and you have it at the end of the run, might as well stay out as long as you can. 18's going to go out for another lap. So after this, you're going to see Michael Walls back here, who was your race leader. When Gabe decides to come down and pit, it will cycle back out to him. To this number 9 leading the race. The number 9 here in P2, Fidel Fabian, has not pit yet, but he's back here in P3, so he will go down the running order once he decides to take that car down pit road. And Jake Scarborough back here right behind him, back there in P4. Gonna take this pit road ticker out because we'll go back and just look right at your race leader. We do have a battle back here actually for the P5 spot. Young Blood. Oh, we're looking maybe 3 wide back here. it's getting spicy down here through the S's. Joe Farlow's going to back out. Really smart move by him. You know, he's been someone who's always been good at keeping the car clean and running these guys back down when it matters, but going to lose 2 spots to the 53 and that 62. Go back out to Bryson Bird as the 62s continues to have some blinking issues. But I'm super surprised to see this 18 staying out as long as he can. If he said, I don't know, maybe he's fuel saving or not, but he's really close to only having to one-stop this. Now I'm wondering if they maybe have enough to only one-stop this, and maybe he's just trying to split it in half, because there's no way that everybody else, Michael Walls, like he pitted, what, 5 laps ago on lap 14? Maybe they had like 30, maybe 25 laps of fuel in the tank and just needed to pit around that lap 15 mark to get them to the end there. That's going to be my guess of what the strategy is. But Gabe, I think he's just trying to run it out here. So if I'm going to guess, if they can make it pitting on lap 15, he can go another 5-ish laps here. No, he's going to pick right here. Going to split the race in half. Going to try to. Here comes Gazzola down pit road. He'll most definitely give up the race lead here. See him take his pit stop. You're going to see the number 9 come down here. We take the lead. The 9 of Michael Walls starts to pull away from the rest of the field. You're going to see him try to lap this 86 machine of Scrum. I'm interested to see where Gazzola comes out. So he's going to come out here right behind the 62. Oh, Youngblood. I don't think knew they were side by side. Got super squirrely trying to give room to the 18. 18's in the wall. Gonna slow him down quite a bit. And we know Youngblood's not the kind to just pull over for someone. He's gonna fight you regardless of where you are. So Youngblood, one of the more aggressive drivers that we've called here on High Velocity TV. But you're fighting fire with the 18. We've seen the 18 several times put the bumper to someone, flat out wreck someone to try to get around them. But the 18's got fresher tires. I don't really see how much of a challenge it's going to be versus some of these older guys with the older tires. Youngblood just going to give him the spot. So Gazzola rounds back out here, 15 seconds behind your race leader. Wow. I'm interested to see if the gamble's worth it. I don't think he has the pace of the 9, but he does have the better tires. And Michael Walls to just turn the heat on. I mean, he's already has a 5.5 second gap to Jake Scarborough. Granted, I think maybe Micah took fuel only. It looks like he only had a 7.5 second stop versus everybody else who took, you know, at least 14 seconds in the box here. And you can see it in the lap times, I think. And even then, Michael Walls still running 15 threes. The only person faster right now is Jake. You're in a 14 flat, so almost a 1.5 seconds quicker a lap. This number 77 is. So if I'm Jake, I know that I have better tires. I know that I'm a little bit quicker. Do not burn up the tires while you have them underneath. You need to conserve those. Continually, slowly eat into this gap that you have, that the leader has to you. Don't burn them up trying to just get up there quick and use them up, because then once you get to there, you need tires to pass this number 9 car. Once again, a 15.6 to a 14.8. That's about 7/10 quicker. Again, if I'm the 77, you got to be patient with the car. Be patient. You know you have the fresher tires. You know you have the outright pace to at least somewhat keep up with this 9 machine. He might outbeat you by a tenth or two every lap, but you can at least keep it there. So now that you have the tire advantage, you just need to keep it strong here. And Micah being slowed up by the lap car right here of the 86. The 86 is kind of backing up the 9 a little bit. I think the 9's trying to be a little bit more passive when it comes to getting around this lap machine. But actually the 86 might be, no. I mean, they're running about the same lap times. The 86 just ran at 15.5 versus the leader's 15.6. So coming back out, we'll see what this lap time this number 9 runs once again. $15.5 to Jake's 15.1. And once again, you know, the tire gap starting to close faster than I think we all expected to. You know, Jake hasn't really closed the gap a lot here. You know, has gotten it down to about 4.5 seconds, but still has a long ways to go to get to that leader. You have to baby this car. If I'm this 77, you have the tire advantage. You have to take advantage of this. You landing A Brown here in the 35 and the 39, up here in the P6 position, up 4 spots. Good run for this 39 machine. Youngblood up the road here in P5. Trying to run down that 24, Joel Farlow. See Joel up the road here. Saw him getting on that lap car, Max Troyne. Yeah, battles all over the track. Fidel Fabian getting around the 34 of Adam Tal back here for P8. Jacob Clarino, that 33. Trying to get back to the 34 machine. Remember, Jacob qualified second. And I don't know if there was a mistake. You see quite a bit of damage to this car. It's dropped back significantly back here. Just around at the top 10. No, as a show here, 48 seconds off the leader. So not the race I don't think this 33 had in mind. Showed a lot of pace in practice, showed a lot of pace in qualifying, obviously. This one mistake can derail your race. The 33 look underneath the 34 here, side by side, going into the backstretch chicane. 33 is going to make the pass. The Huckleberry around. He maybe made a mistake. Yep. Coming down here, down towards the bus stop. He just got on the curb. Just a little bit too much, and around that 52 goes. They get that thing turned back around. Back up here to P2. Jake has dropped this gap to 3.5 seconds now. It looks like the leader did get around to 86 eventually. Now Jake has to try to navigate around this 86 lap car. And the issue is that this 86 is running at relatively decent pace here. Ran on 119 last lap, which is why I assume he's back here with Jake. But has been running around the decent lap times too, competitive lap times. So, like, if you're Jake, do you just sit back and kind of hope that the 86 can continue to go? Or do you try to maybe negotiate to get by him? What do you do here? It's definitely a tough situation for the 77. Because now you see the 77 being held up in the S's here. You get over the mic and say, hey, can you let me go, man? I'm trying to race for the win. Are you trying to be cordial? Are you trying to set up a pass here? What happens? Because you see the 86 is not letting him go, even though he's shown that he wants to get around. Oh, you see the 86 get the bumper put to him. You're starting to see the 77's frustration starting to show. I mean, he's actively getting held up by a car who's not on the lead lap. Granted, he is the first car lap down. But, like, at some point, you have to say, okay, you know, this isn't my race. This isn't my fight. Just pull over and let the 77 go. Now the 77's actually losing time to the leader. With the fresher tires, you're going to see him stick his nose in there. The 86 is going to go around off the nose of the 77. I mean, you had to see that coming. Go back and take a look at this. I mean, the 86 not really giving any room to a car on the lead lap. Just sticks his nose in there, and 77's got to go, dude. And unfortunately, the 86 not giving room and can go around here in that fast cash machine. And then, I mean, it's unfortunate for the 86, but sometimes you got to read the room. You got to see, okay, you know, he wants by, he's trying to get back to the leader, and you're just actively holding him up. He's going to, those things will happen. With all that contact, I mean, that might have costed Jake an opportunity to get back to the leader. Lost a lot of time there. Now he's back 6 seconds behind the leader. With 15 to go. If I'm the 77, you really don't have a choice now. You have to push. There's no tire saving. Now you kind of have to get up there and try to get around the leader. You see him pushing that car as hard as he can now. Michael Walls down pit road once again. Interesting. So now you have to go back and look at the 18 machine of Cazzola and say, was trying to save, was trying to split it in half the way to go, because now you see the 9 machine coming down pit road with 15 to go, which is around what we thought was around how many laps. But now you see him coming back down with 15 to go. Very interesting. Valhendra race lead over to the 77. He's out here in no man's land. Bryson Bird back there in P2. Looks like Joe Farlow coming out of pit road as well. Remember, the 9 and the 24 were on that same kind of strategy here. Michael Walsh does decide he's going to take a 14-second lap time, so I think he does take 4 fresh tires here. He did take 4 fresh tires here on this last stop. And I think that's why he didn't take tires, because I think he knew he was going to take tires this time. He's only 16 seconds behind your race leader after all that said and done. Bryson Bird down pit road, and Jake Scarborough also down pit road, so Micah, even though he came down, he's going to come and retake the lead once again. Now, where does Jake come out of here? Like, he will lose a bit of time. It looks like he's going to be around 6 seconds, around that same gap he had before. His Bird will come out here. About the same where he was behind that. Like Youngblood getting passed by Farlow. Farlow on those fresh Goodyear tires. So now that Cazzola fact doesn't really come into play here, because either he just doesn't have the pace of these leaders, or the tire difference just doesn't matter. Because, I mean, he pitted at halfway I thought maybe he would try to. I thought maybe just cutting out a stop would give him a big advantage, but Michael Wall's already pitted and he already retook the lead. And we know he's probably good to go for the rest of the race. But Cazzola back here in P2. Brandon running 14.6s, so they're running relatively quick. And then Jake back here now, 9 seconds off the pace. Well, not 9 seconds off the pace, but 9 seconds behind your race leader. Bryson Bird back there, 12 seconds behind. And Fidel back there in P5, 15 seconds behind. Jacob Clarino trying to fight his way back up here into a top 5. See him trying to run down this 51 machine. The 33 has caught the 51, but how fast is it going to take for him to get around this 51 machine? Fidel, pace has fallen off considerably in comparison to the 33. Jake Scarborough with a mistake. Trying to find where this issue happened. But regardless, that 77 has lost a considerable amount of speed. Back there to P4, Bryson Bird got around him, put himself in a podium spot. Still, Cazzola trying to keep himself within the pace of the leader. Right now, still about half a second a lap slower. Your race leader, Michael Walls, just continuing to pull away from the rest of the field. With 10 to go here at Watkins Glen. So an estimated 12 minutes left in this race. So, I mean, can this 18 have this 18 have anything left in the tank? Not only for not in lap times, but also to make it to the end. Remember, he pitted on lap 19. I mean, on lap 20. It was lap 19 or 20 of the 41. So I don't know if this 18 can even make it to the end here, because he didn't completely split it in half. He split it. He was close, but could not make it all the way. A little battle back here for P5. Because now that the 24 is going to get around the 51. Pick up Clarino with another mistake, I think. His last go back to P8. You see the 51 drop back to P6. Joel Farlow puts himself back into the top 5. While we get time, we'll run through your field once again. Oh, it's the 24 with the huge mistake. What a save. As we get our bearings underneath us once again, and we'll go through the field here as we look at your race leader, Michael Wallace, continuing to pull away from the rest of the field. Now 3.5 seconds away from your second place driver, Michael, leading a lot of laps here, 23 of the 33. Go back here to Gabe Kazula in this 18 machine, currently P2 with a sizable lead. Back here to P3 of Bryson Bird. Bryson having a good run for himself here at the road course. But he's going to have to put up a fight, I think, because Jake Scarborough is not giving up the fight here. Slowly trying to run down this 53 machine. So Jake just has to worry about looking forward, trying to run down this 53 because he has no pressure behind from this 24 machine of Farlow. Farlow about 10 seconds behind the 77 back there in P5. Fidel back there in P6. Having a good run for himself. You got Wyatt Youngblood having a good... I'm pretty sure this is one of his first races here in the series. So having a good race for himself. Jacob Clarino. You see that TH Designs teammate, I guess if you want to call that, back there in P8. It's shown flashes of speed, but I just think has made too many mistakes. Go up there and race up there for a top 5. Back there in P9. Decent run for that 48. Showed little splashes of pace as well, but I think ultimately he kind of needed the car to follow. He needed that rabbit chase to keep him up in the speed. Fortunately, just has not found that rabbit to chase anymore. Back there, rounding out the top 10. And the last car on the lead lap, Landon Brown in that 39 machine. As the laps continue to run down here at Watkins Glen, I mean, this is kind of the Micah Walls show. Have a little bit of a battle back here outside the top 5. Youngblood starting to get ran down by that 33 machine, Clarino. A little bit of a mistake through that bus stop. Oh, the 62, super upset. Going through the carousel. You see these cars are just not handling very well after, what, 17 and 18 laps on these tires. Youngblood with 9. But still, I mean, we talked about it earlier in the race that these cars, the handling will go away in these cars as you run laps here. Get a 33 down pit road. 33 could not make it on fuel, I suppose. Be a battle here. Fabian trying to get ran down by the 62. I think Youngblood's one of the only drivers I think who can make it to the end here without pitting a second time. Wyatt pitted 10 laps ago, which would make him hit what? A lap, I think 40 on the dot, right? So I think this 51 will have to pay. He's got 15 laps on these tires, which means he pitted on what? We're on lap 35 now. So he pitted on lap 20. Gonna be interesting. Bryson Bird has been ran down by the 77. You see Jake there in the rear view in the background. That has the lap car of Aaron Evans back there. Because Aaron's having a big slide. Bryson Bird's gonna have to look out the rear view mirror now. See if he can hold off this 77 for the last 5 laps of this race. Got about 4.5 laps to go. Jake has been running the fastest laps on the track, so you gotta think, what if he didn't make that mistake there after he took that pit stop? You have to think of, like, what if he kind of tried to pit with the 9, tried to just keep up with him on pace here, but Braxton Bird's gonna try to hang on here for 4 more laps. Now this is your closest battle on track, is between the 77 and this 53. Everybody else is kind of on their own island, trying to just finish this thing out. Coming three to go. Micah Walls and a little under a 11-second gap to your P2 driver. Gabe Cazola, I think, is going to hold on here for that P2 spot. A really good strategy call out of that 18 machine. We'll have to see, actually, because it looks like, I mean, Jake is lapping about a lap second quicker. He's just not too far up the road. And he's got enough time to get to him if he gets an opportunity to. Looks like the 18 also having to battle with some lap traffic. Looks like that lap car, it's the 52 of Huckleberry, got out of the way, but Jake continues to run down decent lap times. Gabe with a good lap there. That's a good clutch lap there. 15.3 from Cazola versus a 15.1 of Scarborough. So it looked like he had lost some pace there, but still has a little bit of pace underneath that 18 machine. Now can Bryson Bird hang on here to keep this podium spot? Trying to look back, that 77 just has not been able to close up. Granted, Bryson's running really good laps as well. It's not like he's slouching around trying to hold on. Coming to 2 to go here. And Bryson hang on. See the 77, he's pushing as hard as he can. Got the 14 bear, the 48 bearing down. And once again, we've talked about Aaron Evans. As soon as he's got that rabbit to chase, he's running quick laps. He ran a 1:14.6 that lap. That was the fastest lap on the track for that 48. If he's got a rabbit to chase, he can run good lap times. And with that rabbit behind him, and now that Jake has that rabbit behind him that's trying to chase him, I mean that dog trying to chase him, he's really close up to the 53 here in this lap. We look at the white flag here for Micah Walls, but we're just really trying to look at this battle for this P3 position. Micah is long gone, 11.5 seconds up the road. Gabe Cazola looks like he's going to hold on for a P2 finish. Not enough time for the 53 and the 77 to get back to him. I have to call it now. Micah Walls, I mean, the man of the hour, the man of the week here. He's going to lead over half the laps here, coming down into the last corner. He's going to come here and dominate here at Watkins Glen here for Week 7 of the AWC Pro Series. Michael Walls here, victorious at the Glen. Gabe Cazzola going to come out here with a P2 finish, going to barely eke out. But coming to the line here, Bryson Bird with a mistake, but he's going to hold on for the P3 finish. Really good battle for that 77 and that 53, but 53 is going to get the best of him. Bill Farlow going to come out here with a P5. Good run for him. Going to go back to number 9. End of the hour. (32 of 42 laps led). There goes the engine for that number 9 machine. Just like that. We'll have that 9 car sit there right out here outside of turn 1. But we'll go ahead and go through your unofficial results here, brought to you by High Velocity TV. We'll go ahead and find our chopper cam. The unofficial results here at Watkins Glen, presented by High Velocity TV. Obviously, we saw Michael Walls with a dominating performance here at the Glen. Gabe Cazzola with a great strategy call is going to come up here and end up here in P2. Bryson Bird's going to run out your podium and get that precious interview. And Jake Scarborough just right behind him. Just not enough time to get back to that 53 after that mistake out of pit roads. Jake, still a good run for him in that P4 position. Joel Farlow, Mr. Consistency, going to get that P5 position. Wyatt Youngblood, P6, I think in one of his first starts here in the AWC Pro Series. Fidel Fabian, P7, Landon Brown, P8, Jacob Clarino looked like had a promising speed here, going to be P9 a lap down, and Aaron Evans going to round out your top 10. P11 is going to be Adam Schramm. Remember, we saw him get caught up with the wreck between him and the 50, so he's going to finish P11. P12, Ron Baum, good climb through the field for him. Going to finish 4 positions higher than where he qualified, so good for him. Adam Talon at 34 going to be P13. P14, David Huckleberry. P15, Adam Troyne. And unfortunate for Kristen Pena, going to be out early there in that P16 position. We're going to get ready to talk to your top 3 after some words from our partners over at iRacing, but don't step away as we'll be talking to your top 3 after a short break.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Watkins Glen here for the outro show for the AWC Pro Series here from the Glen. Week 7 here for the AWC Pro Series as we get ready to talk to your top 3 finishers. And why not just talk to the man of the hour right off the bat here? Let's go ahead and talk to your race winner and Michael Walls. Hey Micah, it's Christian up here in HVTV booth. You got a copy? Well, I don't know how else to put it, but a pretty dominating performance for you here at the Glen here, week 7 here for the AWC Pro Series. But just walk us through, I'm more interested in looking at the pit strategy. Obviously, we saw, the 18 take one stop. It looks like you took 2. But just walk us through your race and walk us through, how you got up here into the victory lane.
Yeah, we had a really solid performance. I'm normally not very good on road courses, normally in other leagues, but somehow today we came out and we instead of qualified on the pole, we decided to go with the 2-stopper in the middle of the race. We probably would have lost to the 18 there, but he ended up taking tires on the second stop and he ended up screwing himself on that. So I'm just happy I was able to come out and dominate.
Dominating is kind of the best word to put it. 32 of 42 laps led there, and really the only time you gave it up was when you were down pit road, where you had some of those guys try to do a different strategy there with the one stop, or just frankly just out a couple laps later than you. But talking through Watkins Glen here, especially in this Xfinity car, when you compare it to something like the Cup car, where you can really push as hard as you can, versus the Xfinity car where you're gonna have tire wear. Walk us through how you approach that.
Yeah, next gen car, you just kind of, you don't really got to worry about tire wear all as much as you do Xfinity car. But Xfinity car, you have to baby a little more. You had to take tires a lot more. I didn't take tires on the first stop, and I decided not to take tires and took it on the second stop. So that kind of helped me a little bit.
It definitely showed, who was more disciplined with the tires there, especially you at the end with the 12.5 second gap there. So dominating, to say the least. But before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank for this win? Any sponsors, family, friends watching at home? Really, anybody you'd like to thank for this win here at the Glen?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got to thank Bill and I got to thank the T1A guys.
Lots of shout outs there for Micah there, but we're going to drag you back out to celebrate with whoever you need to. And once again, congratulations on your win here at the Glen.
Appreciate it.
That was your race winner here, Michael Walls. Once again, just dominating performance here. And let's go ahead and talk to your second place driver, and Gabe Cazola. Hey, Gabe, it's Christian up here in HVTV booth. Got a copy?
I got a copy.
Well, a little bit of a different pitch strategy for you compared to everybody else up here that we're going to be talking to. But looked like you had a lot of pace throughout the whole race. Just unfortunately, didn't have the qualifying spot that I think you probably wanted, and force yourself to kind of drive up through the field here. But walk us through your race. Walk us through that different pitch strategy compared to the rest of the field.
Yeah, most of my problem was that I qualified really, really bad for where I should have been, and I was just kind of fighting from behind. So I was like, well, I got to try something. So I was just gonna run it dry the first time, and then my original plan was just to go run it dry again and just take nothing on a final stop, with 3 to go. But then I got stuck back in traffic, so I was like, well, let me try something else. And I just, middle of 3 laps after I pit the first time, went back down, put a fuel, and came out 3 seconds behind Micah. But unfortunately, my tires were way older than his, and I killed my rears. And just at that point, I was just trying to save second.
Yeah, looking at those, what would be third and fourth, running you down. What was it like? Did you kind of know that you needed to kind of run a consistent pace to stay ahead, or were you just trying to just hold on for dear life there?
I mean, I once Micah started pulling away, I could feel my rears were killed, and I just kind of tried. I took a few laps to try to cool down the rears, and I lost a lot of time that I was just really easy on them. And then with 3-4 to go, I kind of got back on the gas, and I was only a half a second slower than them a lap, and at that point I was good enough to keep second by the end.
Regardless, looks like the pitch strategy at least got you a decent finish. Obviously, I don't know if anybody could have caught up to Micah. He seemed pretty on it.
Yeah, he was really good
all day, but despite that, coming home with the P2 can't be too upset about yourself with that. But before we let you go, is there anybody you want to shout out? Any friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to thank for this podium spot?
I mean, I'll shout out to Micah. Obviously, he ran great, incredible race. I was in the call with him, and that's it.
Well, we appreciate you coming down here, giving us an interview for tonight. And once again, congratulations on your P2 finish.
Thank you.
That was Gabe Cazola there in the number 18 machine, finishing P2. And we'll talk to last but not least, your P3 driver Bryson Bird in the number 53. Hey Bryson, it's Christian up here in the HVTV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, an exciting finish for you, especially towards the end of the race. But it looks like you in that 77 just couldn't get away from each other the whole race. But walking us through the pit strategy and everything else. Walk us through your race and walk us through that battle at the end between you and Jake.
Well, first of all, I didn't know I was that good of a road racer. But yeah, me and Jake, I felt like we were just really equally matched. Micah, he was just really fast. We couldn't hang with him, but I didn't make too many mistakes throughout the race, which is a good thing. So pretty
Yeah.
proud of the finish.
Yeah, I'll say that, when you come to really any road course, but especially here at the Glen, where it really does punish you for making mistakes over pushing the car, especially here in these Xfinity cars with the tire wear. It really does promote you to just kind of keep your equipment clean, keep the tires underneath you, and then continue to push forward. But, going back there with Jake, right? I mean, we obviously saw he made a huge mistake and was pushing pretty hard to get back to you. So what was it like just trying to look in the rearview mirror, just trying to keep that car pedaling to stay ahead of that 77?
It was very nerve-wracking. The main goal was I was just trying not to get turned.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like you guys were finding it out pretty hard there at the end there. But despite that, I mean, still came home with the P3. Barely eked out that 77 at the line. I mean, it was almost a photo finish between you two, but still came home with that podium spot, got the interview. So before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank for this podium? Any sponsors, family, friends, or anybody?
Yeah, my two teammates, Brett Bennett and Enrique Cucalan, for always helping me out on the track.
I can't thank the teammates enough. I mean, obviously a very helpful tool to have, especially when you're in the call with them, banging ideas off each other. But despite that, coming up with the P3 finish, we're going to go and let you go back there, prepare for next week. But once again, congratulations on that P3 finish. Hopefully we can talk to you next week.
Thank you.
Bryson Bird, the P3 driver, just heard from him in that number 53 machine. But besides that, I guess it's time for your little post-race show presented by HVTV as we get ready to wrap up tonight's broadcast here from the Glen. Obviously, a really entertaining race. Honestly, we had 16 cars, which is pretty good for this league. And honestly, we had battles throughout the track. When we saw Micah try to pull away from Jake and Bryson there at the beginning, we still had battles throughout the whole field. Outside the top 10, within the top 10, we saw people like Youngblood and especially Clarino drive through the field and then drop back, drive through the field, drop back, and it really did help promote good racing. Obviously, Joel also drove through the field here with that off strategy. He kind of fell back behind some of these other drivers and was able to drive through the field, and it did put on some good racing. Obviously, you can't talk about good racing and not talk about the racing at the end there between the 53 and the 77. So despite all that, really good racing and a really good show. I really enjoyed calling the race here. But besides that, I really don't think we have anything else here for you guys at home. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the broadcast here. Once again, my name was Christian Delgado, your lead producer and commentator for tonight's race here at the Glen, here for the AWC Pro Series. Once again, hope everybody has a great rest of the night. We'll be back live on Sunday for most likely our last race there for the Sportsman Legacy Truck Series there for the Crowd Jewel guys. And then we'll be right back here next week, Thursday night, for the Prestige Cup Series, wherever they are. So once again, hope everybody has a great rest of the night, and we will see you guys soon.